while this is still recorded, I'm not hearing background noise of rain hitting a little tin outside because it's just like, doo, 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 doo. Just leave me alone, rain.
Oh yeah, exactly. Good thing it's not raining, because if it would be raining, you would not hear me. You would hear rain.
Oh, that's going to be an awful one. Anyway, we should be fine. It might add some atmosphere to the podcast, or it'll rain it out. Anyway, let's get on with it. This is the Immaterial Gamers podcast, episode. Hey. Thank you. Episode number 19. It is, it's getting nice and old. 19. Yeah, the week 21. Do we determine that is able to drink beer, or is it, is that legal because it's still very, very underage?
Well, we're getting somewhere with it.
Yeah,
it's consistent.
It's regular.
Yeah.
Regular, like a bowel movement.
So, guys, if you don't remember me, my name is Dariusz.
Yes.
I am the vampire one guy. Well, they started calling me vampire. I don't know why.
I think it was because you were playing Vampire.
Yeah, I got familiar with that game, which I never finished.
Yeah. And I am Ryan. I'm Notimagain. And it's just us this week, which probably works out a little bit better because we want this podcast to probably not last 3.5 hours. Because this week we're trying something a little different. This is recorded on the 9th of December 2018. This is the week with two, in my opinion at least, the two biggest sort of announcement bits of the year, because no one cares about E3 anymore. So this week we had Jeff Keighley's The Game Awards by Jeff Keighley, presented by Jeff Keighley. And we had the Kind of Funny Showcase. Two different ways of celebrating games medium. One in the big corporate-ish setting, but looking at sort of, hype and games as a whole. And the other from a bunch of ex-games media journalists, just looking at enthusiasm of games, big or small, and in the showcase at least was generally small. So we're doing a little bit of an experiment this week. We're probably going to look at these two big events. I mean, we can very, very briefly talk about a game that we played this week, just to keep it natural. So we can do that very quickly.
Yeah.
So Dariusz, I believe you talked about it. You were looking at a board game that you got. I saw the Discord. I saw all the pieces.
Yeah, well, because I was off the grid for 2 weeks. I've played almost nothing.
Yeah.
However, on Wednesday last week, I've picked up my board game, which I backed up on the Kickstarter. And because it might be possibility to play this game in, well, me probably with you, Ryan, and Stefan next week.
It is possible. I'll have to see what's
going on. So I was determined to learn the rules and see how to play the game, basically, just to have a feel of it, so we don't spend 6 hours reading the rule book.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit different to Splendor, which could be picked up by an amoeba.
Definitely. It's kind of heavy game, however, not as heavy. Well, as depends. I think it's a little bit more complicated than Gloomhaven.
Oh, yeah.
However, it's definitely smaller in the scope.
Right,
because Gloomhaven is supposed to have hundreds of scenarios to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Where this one is literally a single game to get the full experience of it. So, Nemesis is a board game by Awaken Realms. It's literally taking a big chunks from movies like Aliens. Because the whole concept of the game is you are on the spaceship, you and your crew.
Okay.
You waking up, you're finding one of your crew members dead already.
Oh, that's always a good start.
Yeah. Well, it gets only worse. And you don't have a memory of the ship, so the only thing which you remember is where the engines are and where is the cockpit. And that's it. The rest of the rooms you have to kind of explore as anew.
Right.
So, in turns, you wandering around by discarding cards. The cards are actions. So you're moving from one room to another. Every single time when you enter the new room, you reveal that room. And then you're rolling a noise die to perform a noise check.
Right.
So then you're putting a yellow marker, depending on what result it is, in the corridors. So let's say you are in the room. There are 3 corridors in that room, and whatever the number you have to put a yellow marker on it. So that's on. And then, if for example there are yellow markers already in that corridor, that means you will encounter an alien, and they hurt.
Yeah.
They do hurt. It's hard to kill them. But the main concept, I would say, the main aim of the game is that every single player has a different objective.
Oh. Okay, so they're not always necessarily working to the same goal then?
No, and there is also something which we call like I like to call it a post-credit scene, which I will get to it in a minute. So everyone have a different scenario, different objective. For example, I have to self-destruct the ship, so the aliens will not get anywhere.
Okay. Seems very Alien 1.
Yeah, and for example, you have an order from the corporation which employed us to get back to Earth, bring one of the specimens alive. For example.
Okay.
So, and for example, Steph might have get to Mars and destroy the nest.
Right, okay, so we have got 3, in that scenario we would have 3 different goals.
Yes.
And every single one of them would collide with each other.
Yes, and you don't know what other players have.
So you kind of have to, so it's kind of got this hidden identity.
Yes, it's like
concept in it as well.
It's sort of like semi-cooperative because you have to cooperate to a certain degree, so no one dies basically.
Yeah.
But then the end scenario is completely different. So, for example, one of us get into the cockpit. Then you can reveal for yourself only a destination card where we going. And you can change it to whatever you want without informing us what is on the card.
This sounds very... This sounds like it could cause arguments.
To get somewhere, to get anywhere, we need 2 out of 3 working engines. Again, you're getting to the, for example, engine room. You're checking the status of the engine without saying to anyone. And then you have like a repair/damage card, which you can discard, but no one of us will know whether you're repairing the engine or breaking it.
Jeez, this is very sneaky and...
It is. It is.
Man, this sounds right up my street.
And let's say we kind of discussed that we're going back to Earth, right? Let's just for the sake of the argument for the podcast, we just discussed we're going to the Earth. No one of us is infected. The nest is destroyed. Okay. That's fine. And then we have like I would say like post-credit scene, because for example during the fight with other aliens on the ship, you're drawing infection cards, which you don't know what they are until you either check yourself in laboratory or at the end of the game. So they done it quite in the smart way. So you've got your infection card, and there's like a red film, well, a cardboard box where you can slide the card in with a red film on it, which kind of diffuse the red font on the card and just leaving the black one. So you can see then if you are infected or not. Because if you have just the card on its own, you cannot read it. Literally, you can't read it. But when you slide it into this scanner, a word is revealed.
Huh.
So if it's infected, well, you have a small alien inside of you. And for example, you have to check 4 cards. So it's enough if only one of them have infection. So for example, you might fail the whole game because you died.
Huh.
You might go to we might, because we're gonna check after that. We're checking where we're going, if we can go. So we have to reveal, let's say, engine first. Yes, okay, fine. The engines are working. Then we're revealing where we're going. We're going to a bloody Mars. And then we're checking ourselves if we have the alien inside. So if you do have an alien inside, it's game over for you.
No.
So even if you set up the coordinates, everything, you've done all your objectives, still might fail because you've got alien inside of you.
Oh, that's the worst.
So yeah, that's kind of game. And also, the minis looks good, the miniatures.
I'm looking at the Kickstarter page that was on there for it. Jesus Christ, I didn't realise it made that much. 50,000 was its goal. £3,080,833 was raised.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
and to be honest, that's what I get. I would say it's worth the price which I've paid for it. However, I got only half of the game.
Right.
Because of the stretch goals. One of the stretch goals, for example, was because we earn so much money, we're gonna throw at you a free expansion.
Ah, right.
So the expansion, what the expansion does, it will change completely the behavior of the aliens.
Okay.
So this one's you kind of fighting with noise tokens, so you're rolling for noise, and if it's too much noise, they're coming at you. The other ones, which I will receive later on next year, have like a sanity, insanity rolls. So you basically you're going crazy. And also there will be like aftermatch expansion as well to it. So let's say we've played that game, we all died because one of us had the alien inside. Or maybe one of us might survive. And then an additional ship is docking to our ship. And a new crew is boarding our ship, the Nemesis ship. And whatever happened in the first game stays like that. So if you destroyed the nest is destroyed. If you died, you died. If you survived, let's say you survived, and the new crew can meet these people on the ship and getting extra bonuses, for example.
So it's kind of legacy light at that point then.
Yes, but after that, that's it.
Yeah.
However, there is like a campaign to this game as well. It's done by comic book. So you're reading the comics, you're placing a special markers on the board, and if something happens on these markers, that's when you have to flip the comic to a certain page.
Right, okay.
Which is, I've not tested, but the idea of it seems quite interesting to me. So yeah, that's what I was been doing for the past 2-3 days, learning the rules.
Well, when we get round to playing that, because it's something that I do want to play, be it next week, be it sometime.
Yeah.
Then that's definitely right up my street. So cool. Me, I've just been playing older games. Going through my old Humble Bundle back catalogue. Been playing the the Namco RPGs, the Tales of RPGs, particularly Tales of Berseria, the action RPG with the female protagonist in probably the first Tales game where you play as kind of the villains.
Okay.
Not. So it's kind of the story base is that you are the character Velvet, a sort of outdoors woman who gets betrayed by her mentor, who kills her own brother, and turns her into a big demon to try and save the world. You come back after a 3-year prison stint to realise that he now basically controls the world in some form of misguided attempt at trying to, destroy demons. But nothing's ever simple in a Tales game. It's probably going to be that the villain doesn't actually know what they're doing, the heroes may be a bit more flawed than they need to be. Character design of it's pretty cool. Just wearing tattered clothing, from being in prison for a while. Has a bandaged left arm, which can turn into a giant big beastie claw which absorbs demons' energy, making them more stronger. But like all the other Tales games and every RPG, you get a ragtag group of weird companions involving some weird demon samurai swordsman who wants to repay his debt with you, yet will refuse to use the samurai sword you found for him. There's story reasons. A kid who looks awfully like your brother who died, but he's just some form of weird other race that was invisible to people until the events of the game. A pirate, because you've always got to have a pirate.
Why not?
Some weird human girl with elvish ears who claims that she's a magician, but currently can't seem to cast any magic without some weird top hat wearing cat creature thing. Other characters in the game involve an exorcist, which is one of the supposed to be the good guys of the game, but are actually the bad guys for reasons. Who gets a bit disillusioned with her own job and therefore helps you out, and more. I haven't quite got that far in. I've played about 20 hours so far, so still a lot to go yet. But enjoying it. I like the old Tales of games and the fact that they kind of each fight is kind of like a brawler or like a fighting game as opposed to turn-based RPGs. And this is yet another one where if it was played on a console and you had a bunch of friends around, while the game is marketed as a single-player RPG, combat can be done multiplayer.
Okay.
So your party of 4, each player can control a party member. This happened with the first one that a group of us played, which was Tales of Symphonia. It's just the idea of 4 people being able to play the game together while experiencing one story is actually pretty cool. And it kind of led toward, I feel that's kind of led towards the more co-op experience, like Diablo did the ARRGGH experience. But enjoying it, playing it, and might give it a little bit of a break next week because I picked up a game from the Epic Games Store which launched over the weekend. New game from the creators of Bastion.
Okay.
So from Supergiant, they've got a game called Hades, which kind of goes back to the old isometric stuff from Transistor and Bastion, but it is now a roguelike shooter, not unlike what's it called? The Binding of Isaac. You are the son of Hades, who's a bit pissed off and doesn't want to be in the underworld anymore. So he's told by his dad, "Yeah, well, you can piss off if you want, if you live." So the concept is that you'll go through this, through the underworld, you'll die, you'll start back at the beginning again, but it's actually played into the story in the narrative that Supergiant does, which is he'll die and he'll know that he's died. He's back at the beginning, and he's like, right, well, time to die again. So I'll probably be playing that and talking about that next week.
Yep, sounds good to me. I might even pick it up myself.
Yeah, so it is in early access on the Epic Games Store.
How do I access the Epic Game Store? I know they relaunched it. I'm aware of it. However, I not yet tried it because, as I said before, for 2 weeks I was off the grid.
You've not been around. So to get to the Epic Games Store, it is pretty much, I believe it is just epicgames.com/store, and there'll be a link to download the thing there, and then you register, you sign in, and the games are all there. They're offering, from what it looks like they're going to be doing, is they're going to be offering a new free game every 2 weeks. You can get Fortnite there if you really want. They're now doing a pre-alpha of a new Unreal Tournament game.
Fortnite was always free.
Yeah, well, no, not exactly. Fortnite, the game, was initially just it was like a £40 survival co-op game. Fortnite Battle Royale, which is now classed as Fortnite, was free.
Yeah.
So, but you can pick that up in there. It's all in the same contained launcher.
Okay.
But like I say, the pre-alpha of there's a pre-alpha of Unreal Tournament as well. So yeah, fools are going to get redeemed in the future as well. But yeah, speaking of games and Epic Games and announcements and stuff coming out on weird days, let's get into the focus of the rest of the podcast now. Then we are going to move on to talking about the Game Awards.
I can clearly say I will be getting hated.
Yeah, have you seen the?
It just have the same familiar art to what I get used to in the Bastion and Transistor.
Yeah.
And if the stories even half as good as the previous two, yes, I'm in.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that actually got announced like just before the Game Awards as well. So yeah, it was like, right, here's this game we've been working on, and we're like, what? Hi, Supergiant, how you doing? Cool. This is what we were talking about. This is what we've been talking about for weeks about, sort of game developers drip feeding information, and like, oh yeah, you'll be able to enjoy this announcement in 2 weeks' time, where we will then announce a teaser trailer. It's like, no, just give us information. I mean, don't always do the Supergiant. Don't just turn around and say, so you thought we've been doing nothing. Hi, game, here you go. But, we just go for it that way. So, speaking of drip feeding stuff
in the fairness of Supergiant, it's good to not announce anything until it's ready, because you don't have that pressure. You don't have any expectation to the game itself. So whatever you're releasing, it's good.
That's the thing.
Because no one was expecting anything, great. I mean, no one is disappointed because no one was expecting anything.
Yeah, there's zero hype.
Yeah.
So no one can, get caught out by it. But Hype Fests, the Game Awards, the Jeff Keighley's Game Awards 2018 by Jeff Keighley, hosted by Jeff Keighley. I'm going to keep that going. That happened on Thursday night in America, Friday morning over here. And there was a bunch of trailers for big games. Like Obsidian brought out their new trailer, which I think might be The Outer Worlds. I might be confused. I don't know. There's a Mortal Kombat 11. There's other happy games. But for the Game Awards, we're going to look at the awards portion of this, and we'll see if we can actually agree with Jeff Keighley's The Game Awards on the following categories. We're going to briskly run through these and see what happened. So we'll start from the top, even though we know that'll be the big award. Game of the Year, where the nominees were basically stuff that came out at the end of the year, minus Celeste. So we had Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead Redemption 2, where the winner was God of War. Right,
so I've played the Odyssey. No, I've not played the Odyssey, I've played the Origin, sorry.
See, that's what you get. That's what you get, Ubisoft, for bringing out a game once a year.
Yeah, they're doing it too often. Right, so in my opinion,
yep.
Monster Hunter World was never a game. Well, it is a game, but it's not my type of game.
Right. Okay. So you say it's too niche to be Game of the Year material.
Silly, I never heard of it.
You see, I've saw this it's a weird 8-bit styled platformer game about a girl who needs to climb to the top of a mountain for a reason.
Okay. Then there is the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Again, I think the problem is they releasing Assassin's Creed every year.
Yeah. There's barely even any distinction from one Assassin's Creed game to the next now.
Exactly.
So
spend the resources, spend the money and release the game once in 2-3 years and make it richly epic. And then we moving to the 3 of the games, which are God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. Spider-Man, I've not yet played it. However, it's a Spider-Man game. It never had a great story to back up the gameplay.
That being said, I heard this one with Insomniac on the developing cycle. It actually kind of got a goodish story, if not for a lack of puddles.
No, I'm not saying it's bad, but sorry, it might even have a great story. However, if we are talking in the terms of Game of the Year, most of the times we have a mature story. That's what that's what I would be looking forward to. So I can easily discredit Spider-Man from getting it, so that's fine by me. And then we have God of War and Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
If I have to pick up one of the two, it will be God of War. Red Dead Redemption is a good game. It's a great game, but we already had this discussion 2-3 weeks ago.
There's not enough in there for it to be considered Game of the Year material, to be honest. In my opinion, you're kind of there as well, particularly in the stuff to do from one place to the other. I'd go with God of War as well, mainly due to the fact that they've managed to get a story down in a game about a very angry Spartan taking down gods, and they've managed to give him a child. It's another child, because but yeah, I'd go with the agree on that. So okay, Game Awards, you pass for the first time. Best action game,
and we've got Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Dead Cells, Destiny 2 Forsaken, Far Cry 5, and Mega Man 11.
Okay, so they went with the winner of Dead Cells on this one.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it.
At some point, I was considering getting it.
Yeah.
And maybe right now I will get it. Because I heard it's pretty nice. Hack and slash platformer game. However, do we agree on this or not?
Yeah, compared to the list, let's have a look. I've got bias on Call of Duty games. That being said, my problem with calling Call of Duty Black Ops 4 the best action game, it's got multiplayer. It's done that. The blackout mode, which is just falling into the other trap of every game must have a battle royale, I find unnecessary. From what I heard, there's no campaign or story to it. I guess that doesn't really matter in terms of best action game. It's like
Yeah, we just should focus on the action itself.
Yeah. So does it do well as a gameplay? Yes, but then it's doing the same thing it's done every other game. There's nothing switching it up. The same, I'd unfortunately have to say about Destiny. It's mechanically of the loot systems and stuff like that. Outside of that, that's fine. It's still the same core as the original Destiny, and as other first-person shooters. To be fair, Far Cry, again, as more of a narrative focus, it might be good as an action game. well, it's better than other Far Cry games. I mean, from what I got told from one of my workmates, you have a bear as a companion, just a brown grizzly bear, which I think he called Biscuit.
Hello, Biscuit.
Yeah, something like that. Yep. Yeah. And then Mega Man 11. Well, it's a platform game.
Yeah.
So, I guess in terms of, even without actually playing it properly, I know, like I say, I know a little about Dead Cells. You've seen a bit of it. Okay, fine. Game Awards. Would you agree?
Because I've never played Dead Cell, I will give them a pass on it. However, I would pick up Destiny 2.
Okay.
As in terms of action game, I'm seeing in terms of how much fun I have doing stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
And I really love flying around the map in Destiny.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I guess on that, giant bear might, entertain me. Far Cry 5. We'll go there. Best action adventure game. If you want to list those off.
Yeah, fair enough. So best action adventure game. We have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
These games look familiar. Apart from Shadow of the Tomb Raider on that list, which action adventure game. So it's more than just wheelie dealy shooty, but it's also got to have a bit of like high adventure in it, nice set pieces, big booming orchestral sounds.
A game with a pace.
Yeah, so it's a it has those big moments in it, along with the action that you would expect in an action game.
So on that note, can we start from the bottom one? Yep. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah. It's another Tomb Raider which they made in 2010 to 11.
Yep.
Something like that. 9 maybe. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the date, but since they start remaking the Tomb Raider, it's same Tomb Raider. Literally, there is nothing new.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've played it.
Nothing.
I've played it. Okay, it's complete between the new trilogy. Let's call it. First and second one, when I was playing the second one, I was like, seriously, you just copy and paste the asset, the map. Ooh. So that was my fault on the second one. And on the third one, okay, at least you redone the assets. So I'm not trying to say it's a bad game or anything like that. No, God forbid me. It's a great game. It is. It's just too much of a repetition from the previous two.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, I think we're probably on the same.
Because we are landing again in a jungle. We've been there. We've been there twice already.
Stop it.
Is it really hard to give us, I don't know, a desert?
Yeah.
We can't be in the desert. We can wander around in the desert.
I mean, at least with the new ones, they did some. They actually had tombs.
Oh yes, in this one we have actual tombs. Oh yes, that's a big. But anyway, best action adventure game. Yeah. So that's no from Shadow of Tomb Raider from me definitely.
And then we got Red Dead Redemption 2, again, which it would fall in the same. For me, it would fall in the same trap as Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or in terms of games. I can't call something action adventure. You do need breaks between action, between the beats. If you're not in like an arcade game or a shoot 'em up or something like that, something that's constant. But from what I hear with Red Dead, it's slow. The pace. There's no pace.
I agree. And same with Odyssey. After a certain time, it's the same with Odyssey.
Yeah. So then we're back down to God of War and Spider-Man, which if we really, we want to try and find the best in games, but apparently there is poor pace in Spider-Man as well. When you do, what's the girlfriend character called in Spider-Man again? I feel so unhappy that I don't remember it.
Is it Mary Jane Watson?
Yeah, Mary Jane. Yeah, she has like sections in it where she's just doing investigative journalism.
Yeah,
and that's not action. This is probably adventure.
Yeah, it's adventure, but it's not on action.
Yeah. So, would we say by default God of War because it keeps stuff going again?
Yeah, strict and it was strict as in straight, as in it have a pace and giving you the story and the action at the same time. So yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
There is a best balance for giving the story and the gameplay in the same time.
Yeah.
There we go.
Which is what's needed. So that's how that works. Right. Next one. Best role-playing game.
Dragon Quest, Monster Hunter World, Ni no Kuni 2. Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah, you got it. It's fine.
Octopath Traveler, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire.
Right. Okay. So.
I am seriously.
Yeah. Well, they're all good games. I couldn't say because I've not played any single one of the 5. I played the first Pillars of Eternity. That was a good CRPG game. It was good. Octopath Traveler, I heard, is very nice in the form that it is 8 separate stories aligning together to make one little game.
Giant, yeah.
Ni no Kuni, well, anything that's Studio Ghibli and Level 5 collaborations, they can keep going as much as they want. Monster Hunter World, again, I don't know how. I guess it is a role-playing game in a sense, and then Dragon's Quest. Well, that's Dragon's Quest. Anything involving blue slimes is good in my book. But I guess we can leave the Game Awards to that one because they're all good role-playing games.
I would go for Pillars of Eternity, to be honest.
Okay.
Because it's a classic RPG game.
Yeah.
Mainly because it have the RPG things, the mechanics, which we should, consider in this because we're talking about a role-playing game on its own.
Yeah.
So I would say Pillars of Eternity will best fit that one as it literally is a pure RPG style Dungeons and Dragons game.
Fair dues. Right, best game direction, which is an interesting one. So more just of like how the game is produced as opposed to how the game feels.
Would say so, yes.
So we've got the list of A Way Out, Detroit Become Human, God of War, boy, Marvel Spider-Man. It's, by the way, the God of War boy thing. It's just hearing Kratos constantly say it's just ingrained in your head. You just have to call him, or even Boy of War. So, Marvel Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, anything made by...
Definitely not Marvel Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption.
No. They're just not there.
They're just not there. A Way Out, a really great concept.
Yes. This idea of a cooperative game that is played potentially in separate locations.
A friend who would like to play it with me. Especially now where it's like 15 quid.
Yeah.
And it's enough if one of us will own the game, we can play it.
Yeah. That's the thing. So, that was a...
I want to try this game at some point.
Yeah. That sort of concept. Direction, not too sure on it and how that...
Because we not completed it, we're not sure where the game is going, we're not sure what is in the game, so we will pass on it.
Yeah. Detroit Become Human. I've heard, in terms of Quantic Dream games, it's not entirely an absolute shambles, which I guess, in terms of Quantic games, that's good.
I'm looking forward to play it for the second time.
Right. So, I mean, compared to... Because I think we might have like briefly mentioned this on another podcast. So, compared to the other Quantic Dream games, so Heavy Rain, Beyond, and Fahrenheit/Indigo Prophecy, wherever you're based in the world, where does it rank to you?
Thinking.
Thinking.
It's a good game. It's really nice. I like what they done. However, because you're dealing with robots.
Yeah.
It have a less feel to it. Well, less feelings.
It's less emotional attachment, would you say? Stuff like that?
Yes, you are getting less emotional attached to the characters than in two previous ones, in Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain.
Okay.
Yeah, I was literally sad playing Beyond Two Souls at some point.
Yeah. It's just the classic David Cage, just throw shit anywhere and see what sticks problem.
Yeah. And the best, and that's the thing, the best emotions which I had from Detroit is when you are in the main menu, you've got like a face of a robot, which is your personal assistant.
Okay.
Right? And she's giving you a comment based on what you've already done in the game, what is about to happen in the game, and literally like a philosophical questions about life, meanings, etc. And when you finish the game, spoiler alert, cover your ears for another 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll close my ears.
Oh shit.
No, it's fine. Keep going. It's good. It's good.
So when you finish the game, she's asking if you let her go, and you can agree or disagree. And if you agree to it, she's disappearing from your screen forever.
Huh. That's an interesting way of messing with the mechanics of a main menu.
And my head.
Yeah.
Because I was literally...
It's like, I thought this was just some sort of character. Wait, what do you mean she's just upped and fucked off?
Literally, right now when I'm turning on Detroit, I have a blank screen with just new game, continue the game, exit settings.
So, regardless of, sort of like where you are, she's just gone.
Yes. Well, I chose that option based on my story, what I've played, what I've choose in the game. So it just felt right. I will have to let her go.
Damn it. Well. Okay, so this is some game direction there. Now, they went with Game Awards went with God of War again.
Yeah, I think why it's because it's a best game all round. Yeah. It have everything. They done everything excellent in this game.
There we are. All rounders.
Yeah.
So this is a bit like Oscars stuff, isn't it? Because you can have a best picture, and then it's actually a good film if it turns out they got best director, best actors, best stuff like that, screenplay. If it wins all them, then generally it means the film might be actually good. If it's let's say with the Oscars it's a film that only won best picture, and yet didn't win anything else. You kind of wonder, well, what made it so good if then no one else was good in it?
Yeah. So there you go, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Stop doing Assassin's Creed every single year. Do it once in 5 years. Yeah. And maybe then you will make a masterpiece.
Yeah, add a story.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to bring back Desmond Miles, but, have a story.
Well, I might ask to bring back the Prince of Persia, but that's a different story.
Well, yeah, that's a different game series altogether, but
Right, best narrative. We have Detroit Become Human, God of War, again, Life is Strange 2, Episode 1, Marvel Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption. As much as I am a big fan of Life is Strange, and I love the two previous ones, because Life is Strange 2 is like free, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because there was the first one, there was the second one, which was a prequel, and this is like kind of next one. I love the first two of them. This one, I've not played it yet, and we cannot decide the narrative based on the one episode.
Okay. So, so then we go back to, to Detroit. it's good, but there's not much emotional attachment. That's more really because of the game than the fact that you're playing robots.
Yeah. Well, you're not fighting the robots because you are one of them. Well, you are all of them.
Well, yeah, yeah. So there's sort of like idea between free will and nothing. But
if we would just take out, let's say, Kara's story, it might win. But if we are looking on the whole thing,
which we would be, so that's an out.
Yeah.
Spider-Man again. I've heard all the stuff that I've heard about it seems to be the mechanics of the game, not the story. So no. Can you really say Red Dead has the best narrative when there's not much of it because of?
I would say so, because what it makes a great narrative is all those small pieces which you can find. So all those random encounters where you're going around. So yeah, just random buildings which you're planning to rob, let's say. And you're finding out there's an old man who is barely, making a living right now. And all what he have is, let's say, $10 in his drawer. And then you have to decide to rob him out of his life savings or just let him be.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is quite a lot of this small dilemma around the game. So I would say this is a nice, great addition to the whole game.
Fair dues. Cool. So in that case, fine. Well, I'll agree with that one. Now we're at 50 odd minutes.
It's still not Witcher 3.
No, I know what you mean. Right. We will try. Right, now that we got sort of that, this is where you go to the technical designs. And then I'm just trying to see if we can just go through some of these. Maybe we'll just go with winners, see if we could agree or not compared to these. Because like best ongoing game, what makes that different from best multiplayer online game? They've said Fortnite, which
hype.
Yeah,
I would say it's because of the hype, and it's because people making money just playing it. That's the only reason. Other than that, I would go for either Overwatch or Tom Clancy.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll probably do that now. Can sort of compare it to some of the stuff. You alright if we skip some of the technical stuff like art, music?
Yeah, or we can kind of try to cut it now and leave it the rest for the next week.
We could. I mean, yeah, there's one. There's just one award.
Which you want to talk about?
I want to very quickly talk about. Which is the Best Esports Player Award, mainly because of the situation. I know that I have never heard, until the Game Awards, I'd never heard of any of the people that were in this list. So there's Dominique McLean, known by Sonic Fox, Hajime Tokaido Taniguchi, Jan Uzi Zihao, Alexander Simple Kostliev, and Song Hyung Jejeonak Bang. But this was all irrelevant because it was all about Sonic Fox, who won it, and the guy is apparently a big person in the fighting game scene, and gave probably what could be considered the most heartfelt and honest awards speech known. It basically comes down to the fact that he's like, yeah, I just love fighting games. I just like games and playing. By the way, I'm also black, and super gay, and a furry. Deal with it. Which made me laugh. Someone who could be so nervous yet so enthusiastic at the same time.
Yeah.
And then, basically saying, you know what? All you people who hate me, get a grip. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that one. But we can always have a look at other stuff maybe next week. Maybe keep that going, a part 2. But, so that was the big side. The big games part, or at least part of the big games portion.
Yeah, because the rest are still good games, good rewards. However, they are not as much important, I would say, as the one which we already covered.
Yeah. So, there's always good stuff, but we can always look at some other stuff in the future. Like I say, a lot of this is a big esports scene, which I'm only slowly but surely getting back into. So the other side of that was what happened on Saturday night or Sunday morning, which was the Kind of Funny showcase. Now, if anyone who doesn't know who Kind of Funny are, check back a few podcasts ago. I'm sure me and Steph were talking about them, talking about how we nearly broke a rib each laughing at them when they were at RTX London in October. They're basically Kind of Funny are a group of ex-IGN columnists, editors, the big stuff. One of the biggest being Greg Miller, and they've made this this whole idea of they just talk about their enthusiasm for games, big or small, mainly small, unless it's Spider-Man. Then it's all about shirtless Spider-Man. But so they did the Kind of Funny showcase where they had trailers for 69 games over an hour. Very compact. A lot of stuff going on. And we're just going to try and race through these, because there's quite a few that I'm interested in. Dariusz has had a look at the list. There's a couple he's interested in. So we'll just lightning round this for the next few minutes. So starting from the top. Super Meat Boy Forever, the sequel to Super Meat Boy. I never completed the first one because it's ridiculously tough, but it's cartoonish, it's violent. You know what? Why not?
It's better when you're looking at someone else playing it.
Yeah, maybe you get more entertainment out of other people's frustration. So so that's there. The weird RPG that was announced years ago, but is now only out now. Y2K, stylized as Y Roman numerals for 2K. Weird RPG that did have a little bit of a lot of these are quirky, and for me the quirk with this one was your characters are fighting with just normal stuff. So it's like defeating enemies just using a camera. But it's odd. At Sundown, looks like a weird top-down, invisibly violent multiplayer game. After Charge, this was a nice gimmick on this one. That it's weird. It's like it's not like asynchronous multiplayer, but it is.
Yeah,
so
I like
it's a
it.
3 on 3
I like
game.
The concept of it.
Yeah. So 3 on 3 game. 3 of you are robots who are invisible but fragile. So you have to try and sneak and destroy power generators, defended by guards who are invincible, but can just be knocked around everywhere. So they're just like, bouncing balls. So that one seemed a bit cool for me.
So you're literally shooting without seeing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just weird. The trailer shows it clearly of a guy looking like he thinks he's really great. Yeah, I'm defending this thing, and then he just flies across the screen because he's not noticed the robot coming. So that's great. Kind of gives me a little bit of feelings like Screen Cheat, of that sort of idea of just invisible people. The remake of the 1991 classic Toe Jam and Earl from the old Mega Drive era. Quarantine Circular, the next text-based adventure from Mike Biffle, who did Thomas Was Alone and my favourite stealthy game that's not Metal Gear Solid Volume. And this one's the sequel from, I think it's the sequel, maybe, or it's just something related to his previous game, Subsurface Circular. Sort of you in a fixed position having to sort of question people about stuff going about the day until you solve the puzzles.
Might be interesting.
Yeah. Adam's Ascending, a game that's on Kickstarter. It had a live action trailer. It's a one-man developer, one-man filmmaker from what it looks like as well. Third-person survival game involving an astronaut on a desolate planet. Kind of like No Man's Sky-ish from what it looked like, but a lot more bones. Moving Out, the next game from the makers of Death Squared. So highly frustrating highly frustrating puzzle co-op action that will guarantee laughs everywhere.
Yeah, I like the concept of which you can play it again with a friend and mess around literally.
Yeah.
That's and the art style for it, I would give it a plus.
Yeah, very very cartoony. All the characters are not. It's very charming considering the sort of the weird stuff that can happen in it. You're a moving company. Yeah.
You're a toaster. Well, you're not a toaster, but
well, you've got a toaster head. You could be a girl. You're dragging a giraffe carcass. It's just very odd.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it has that. I don't know if they made Overcooked as well, but it's got that same sort of charm to it. So, yeah, that looks pretty cool. Operencia, The Stolen Sun, looks like a weird narrative-based first-person RPG. Golf Blitz Beta, yeah, who wants to try and play golf while playing fighting, from what it looks like? Motorball, Top-Down Rocket League, is what that's come out. Funcom are still dealing with the fact that the only game that they seem to have in their licenses is Conan, so they're doing a strategy game with Petroglyph called Conan Unconquered. A quirky RPG called Lapis X Labyrinth, where you're a party of 4 adventurers who are literally stacked on top of each other like a totem pole, which is weird. The Danganronpa trilogy is there. There was some DLC that came out. A weird bridge constructory game that's coming out called When Ski Lifts Go Wrong, which looks weird enough.
Oh, right. So you're gonna build ski lifts.
Yeah, so you build ski lifts and ramps to help
with people, and when it's overweight, well, so you've got too much weight on it, it will collapse.
Yeah, stuff will collapse. Everyone. They'll land on the head, little blood splats will happen, but they'll be happy and cheery, and everything's light-hearted in its violence. This one got me. I like shoot-'em-up games. R-Type, Ikaruga, that one, Cinemora, stuff like that. There's a game called Rival Megagun, which is a fighting shoot-'em-up game. So 2 players playing against each other, they're playing their own shoot-'em-up game. Kill a certain amount of enemies, do certain things. You will then send ships onto the other side of the screen to make their shoot-'em-up game harder. And you keep going till someone dies. They then KO, and it's a best 2 out of 3, like a fighting game. So
good concept, I would say.
Yeah. Limited Run announced Windjammers and Celeste as getting physical editions. There were some humble games, like Slay the Spire, like we talked about a couple of weeks back. Though there was a humble game that's coming out called The Occupation, which seems interesting. It's a time-limited detective game. So you're in sort of like 1930s, 1940s, something like that, sort of wartime period, and you're trying to solve something under the pressure of time. So there's a lot of people to speak to, a lot of stuff to do, but when you run out of time, if you haven't solved the mystery, that's that.
Okay.
So that works out. There was a game called Long Gone Days, which is a weird story-based RPG involving a sniper during some other war.
Is it something to do with Days Long Gone?
No, it's not. No, it's not to do with 7 the Days Long Gone. Weird, close to names on that. Away, Journey to the Unexpected, which is a game about a really poor hero. It's a child who wants to be a hero but sucks at it so badly that he can't do it. But he is charismatic enough to hire people to do it for him. So it's a weird sort of like first-person RPG from there. Another game called Vane. Kind of looks like it's doing the Journey walking simulator way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, so that one looked pretty cool. Bury Me My Love is a weird. It's one of these sort of like groundbreaker games, sort of social commentary games, really, involving 2 Syrian refugees sharing photos and speaking to each other on text messages. That's the concept of the game. With the title of the game, I get the feeling it's going to end poorly. But A survival game called The Wild 8. Just sounds like your other survival games. There was a couple of creative games that come out. This one, I don't like Battle Royale as a concept. It's too saturated.
Yeah.
This one might change my mind. It's a game called Not My Car. And so it's a Battle Royale game where you are motorized vehicles instead of the old classic, trudging around with no stuff. The whole Battle Royale template. But it's say Rocket League and Battle Royale together might be a bit more interesting.
So you're basically driving a car around.
Yeah, as opposed to...
And shooting stuff.
Yeah. There was a walkthrough trailer for Anthem, puzzle games that were there. There was a couple of unique, quirky ones there. Action-adventure games, again, more quirky stuff like, what was it, Double Cross, which they're apparently marketing as Ace Attorney and Mega Man as a concept, which is a bit weird. It's on the Humble Monthly. There was the Mega Man collection, so I may play them. What else was there? Boyfriend Dungeon. If you want a weird one, there you are. You enter a dungeon where as you kill monsters, they turn into boyfriends, girlfriends, non-gender binary.
However, I have to say, it's kind
friends.
of have a good feel like what was the game we were talking about? Bastion.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it does remind me of Bastion.
Yeah, in a sense. And you know what? That's the quirky enough. It's nice and charming. That's how that works. That goes. There was some weird games, like Knife Boy, where you're a man with a knife for a head, trying to solve who your killer was. Probably involved a knife, Minimex Mayhem was one that was on there that sounded a bit interesting. This weird competitive game involving setting out strategies for little robots and then watching it all go wrong. It kind of had a Robo Rally feel to it. Sort of like putting in instructions and then watching it all go mad. Ape Out. A game about an ape who is escaping from its prison on the top of a building, grabbing and killing security guards. You can't make it up. Fight Night. I saw an early access of this years ago.
Right.
I don't know if it ended up being good or bad, but yeah, it's a first-person boxing-ish looking game. It's a dungeon crawler where you play as the titular Fight Knight who solves every problem by punching it. So yeah, Tunch, I think was what it was called. Another sort of like wave defense sort of fighting combo-y game involving a shaman and some weird tribal people. So that was there. It Lurks Below. It looks like a mixture of Darkest Dungeon and Terraria. There's not much more I could say about that. Project Hardcore, working title. Apparently someone managed to get the license for an old Psygnosis game from 1994 that was supposed to come out on the Mega Drive but didn't. They marketed it as a Euro-style 2D shoot-'em-up. It looks alright. It's no Super Turrican, but it looks alright. Supermarket Shriek. A game involving...
That doesn't sound good.
A weird, quirky, racing-y action game involving a shopping trolley which contains a screaming man and a screaming goat. Screaming with each person changes the direction and velocity of the shopping trolley.
Is it like a co-op game?
I don't know. If it is, that is awesome. Two people just controlling one car through the power of their or
maybe it's microphone required.
Oh my god.
I
would never be able to play it. I would never be able to play it. Martin, my flatmate, would punch me. He would. It'd be awful. The Church in the Darkness, looking like a very stealthy story-based game about a community town that might not be as it seems and might actually be a religious cult instead. A Fold Apart, a little lovey-dovey story game that uses the tear-away sort of mechanic of folding levels together to sort out platform problems. Falcon Age. This one actually looked pretty awesome, even if I wouldn't be able to fully experience it in VR. A game where you are hunting and taking on like some sort of evil robotic menace. Just you and your falcon friend, who fist bumps. The falcon has its own little character, but you hunt with it, you fight, it guts people, you're great friends. It's all lovely. So yeah, there was that one. Jenny LeClue, some weird detective game. Desert Child, a racing game, possibly, with some nice music.
It looks more than that.
Yeah, it's got other sort of stuff because it looked like it was part shooter as well.
Yeah, I think it's like more like a story-driven game, I would say.
Yeah, it looks alright. Yeah, but it looks alright. I mean, I'm just going through these very briefly. I'm probably not doing them any justice, but yeah. Speaking of battle royale games, Housemarque, the guys who made Alienation and Alienation. There we go. And
I prefer the previous one. What was it called? Dead Nation.
Yeah, what was it? Damnation.
Dead Nation and Alienation.
Oh.
They made both of them.
Ah, right. Okay. So yeah.
I prefer the Dead Nation.
They have also succumbed to the battle royale bug.
What are they making?
The game's called Storm Divers.
Oh.
And it's that's another. It's a third-person battle royale game. With looks like high-tech weaponry. Is their shtick?
They should stick to the top-down stuff.
Yeah, the isometric top-down shooters like Alienation.
And battle royale on that matter would be great as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Again, it's just I feel that battle royale's diluted. It's just the problem. And then my favourite game of the 69 that they announced, from the makers of Yakuza, Judgment, a game set in the city of the Yakuza games, but this time you play as the a detective instead of a Yakuza. It looks like it's going to have the same sort of features, but it's going to have like extra stuff, like you can be a detective while kicking the shit out of 10 dudes at the same time. And given that was announced and they said, yes, not only is it coming out, it's coming out, some point next year, but it's coming out in the West not long after the Japanese release, which is a bit different from the other Yakuza games, and it's also going to be voiced in English. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the Yakuza games, but having to read all the cutscenes all the time can get me, but I guess it does add to the game. But anyway, and then finally, the rebooted Skybound version of Telltale's The Walking Dead: The Telltale series, the final season, by Skybound instead of Telltale. They're going to do the rest of the episodes. So, yeah. Was there any that you were in there that I didn't mention?
Well, I skipped a few, but there is nothing of interest to me, to be honest.
I don't know, you said Vane, didn't you?
Yes, I said Vane.
You said Quarantine so
Oh, yeah, you mean like overall? Yes, the three of which I was looking forward to is that After Charge.
Yep.
Moving Out, because it just sounds hilarious.
Yes.
And Vane.
Yeah.
So,
for me, Judgment, Lapis X Labyrinth is the one.
The Judgment looks like another battle royale, which might be emptying the content, if you know what I mean.
I think that might be Storm Divers. Judgment is going to be from the same guys who made Yakuza, so it's going to be a brawler, an action-adventure brawler.
Oh, sorry, I mean Storm Drivers. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I was just making sure. Just making sure you were there.
Sorry, no, my mistake. Too many of them.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There was too many battle royale games. Probably too many Yakuza games, to be honest. But Violence is good. But yeah, that there, in just over an hour, they showcased, 69 games from massive developers like Sega to one-man developers like the guy doing Adam's Ascending and Mike Biffle, and everything in between. And that's what I liked about it. So yeah, the Game Awards shows what success can be on a grand stage. The Kind of Funny showcase for me showed enthusiasm in gaming all around. It's just like, you don't need to play the biggest game, the smallest game. You can play anything you want, just as long as you are happy with gaming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is there for you. So
yeah, on that note, I think we should say that you should not always pick up the games which getting the most awards. You should consider picking up the game which make you laugh, basically, make you relax, make you the game which make you entertained for a split moment or for days.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if you don't agree with us, that's fair trade, because we might hate one game, but someone might love it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. We've all got our biases. There's no way you can be unbiased. Like I say, someone might love Call of Duty for them. For me, it's not my game. And there's the thing: people like quirky titles, people like structure, people just like graphics. For God's sake, it's a thing. Realism, in a sense. Just as long as you're actually enjoying the games. I feel it was important that we kind of needed to do something like this week. I mean, we've had four. We had 4 podcasts recently where we were just talking shit about games. I mean, the 2 weeks that you weren't here, Darius, we were just shitting on Fallout 76. For good reason, maybe. But, it's just a thing that games they shouldn't just all be about bad news, or they shouldn't also just be about hype pieces and corporate advertisement. It's just supposed to be, enjoyment. That's why I play them. It's something nice to do. There's the escapism from, from good days at work, bad days at work, just days at work.
Yeah.
It's something that people can do, and that's what we want to kind of keep showing to you viewers, wherever you may be. So that was the an experimental podcast this week, a 2-man podcast, a big feature-based one. But see how we go. If you liked it, like, share, and subscribe with the bell thingy on YouTube, or subscribe to the iTunes podcasts or the RSS feed. Get them through your ear holes in any way, shape, or form.
Or if you want your product to be featured in our podcast, give us a call.
A call, maybe a tweet.
Maybe an email.
Yeah, maybe a tweet or an email. I'm going to update sort of the contact us sort of links and stuff like that. But personally, you can find me at Notimagain. Darius, I don't know if you've got a Twitter or anything that you'd use, but if you want, if you don't worry about it.
I have it somewhere.
So Darius has got stuff like, but some of us have different ways of contacting. The better way to probably contact would be the Immaterial Gamers Twitter.
That's the thing. We have something. We have the concept for it. We still kind of like trying to put pieces together, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, everything's.
So give us another 2 months, and I'm pretty sure we will be there full blast.
Yeah, it's nice to have optimism. But yeah, no, we've the links are all on the YouTube videos as well, and on the YouTube channel. And actually, I think I do have them on the website as well. But yeah, we've got the Facebook page, facebook.com/immaterialgamers. We've got the Twitter account, which is twitter.com or @immaterialgamer. I can't make the joke about us not being able to get the S, but we'll keep it going. And for that point, cheers, Darius, for this. And,
right, thank you, everyone.
We will see
next week.
Yeah, have a good week, everyone, and please, for God's sake, please don't kill each other.